On the morning of September 29, 1982, a 12-year-old girl named Mary Kellerman woke up with a cold. Her parents gave her one extra-strength Tylenol capsule. She was dead before noon. The capsule had been emptied and refilled with potassium cyanide. Someone had done this in a store, opened the bottle, poisoned the capsules, and put it back on the shelf. Then they had done it again and again. Mary Kellerman lived in Elk Grove Village, a suburb northwest of Chicago. She was 12 years old. She had a sore throat. Her parents found her collapsed on the bathroom floor. Paramedics could not revive her. She was pronounced dead at the hospital. Cause of death was not immediately clear. Nobody knew yet that she would not be the last. That same morning, 27-year-old Adam Janus of Arlington Heights took extra-strength Tylenol for chest pain. He collapsed at home and was rushed to hospital. He died that afternoon. That evening, Adam's brother Stanley and his wife Teresa came to the family home to grieve. Someone handed them the same bottle of Tylenol. Stanley took 2 capsules. Teresa took 1. Both were dead within hours. Voice: 3 members of the same family, 1 bottle, 1 day. Investigators at Northwest Community Hospital noticed something wrong. 3 members of the same family had died within hours. A firefighter named Philip Capitelli connected the deaths to Tylenol. He made a call that would change everything. Chicago police and the medical examiner's office began testing the Janus family's Tylenol bottle. The capsules were full of potassium cyanide. They immediately contacted other hospitals. Within hours, they confirmed 4 more deaths. Paula Prince, 35, a flight attendant. Mary McFarland, 31, from Elmhurst. Mary Reiner, 27, from Winfield, who had just given birth 4 days earlier. 7 dead in total. All 7 victims had taken extra-strength Tylenol capsules purchased from different stores across the Chicago suburbs. The bottles had come from at least 5 separate retail locations. Someone had poisoned them before they were sold. The story broke on Chicago news that evening. By morning, it was national. The question being asked on every channel was the same: how many more bottles were out there? Police drove through Chicago with loudspeakers, warning residents not to take Tylenol. Officers went store to store pulling bottles from shelves. The FDA issued a national alert. Johnson & Johnson recalled every bottle of extra-strength Tylenol in the United States. 31 million bottles, at a cost of over $100 million. It was the largest consumer product recall in history. Pharmacies across the country pulled their stock. The brand that had held 55% of the pain relief market in the United States effectively ceased to exist overnight. Halloween was days away. Across the Chicago suburbs, and then across the country, trick-or-treating was canceled or warnings were issued. Parents were told to inspect everything. The fear had spread far beyond Tylenol. The cyanide had been placed inside the capsules after the bottles left the factory. The tamper was done at the retail level. Someone bought the bottles, opened them, replaced the contents, and returned them to stores. It took less than a minute per capsule. Investigators traced the contaminated bottles to stores in Elk Grove Village, Arlington Heights, Winfield, Elmhurst, and Lombard. The bottles had different lot numbers, meaning they came from different production batches. The poisoner had visited multiple stores. The FBI and FDA joined the investigation. Over 2,000 law enforcement personnel were assigned to the case at its peak. Tips came in from across the country. Most led nowhere. Then a letter arrived at Johnson & Johnson's headquarters. It demanded $1 million to stop the killings. It was signed James D. Lewis. James Lewis was a tax consultant living in Chicago. He had a prior criminal history, a 1978 murder charge in Kansas City that was eventually dismissed. He was considered intelligent, calculating, and deeply resentful of authority. Lewis and his wife fled Chicago after the letter was sent. They were traced to New York, then to Europe. Lewis was arrested in London in 1984, more than 2 years after the murders. James Lewis was convicted of extortion. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison. He served 13. Throughout his imprisonment and after his release, he denied any involvement in the murders themselves. Lewis maintained that he sent the letter to embarrass Johnson & Johnson, not to extort them. He claimed he knew nothing about the cyanide. Investigators never had enough evidence to charge him with murder. In 2009, police executed a search warrant at James Lewis's home and collected DNA samples. The samples were compared against evidence from the original crime scenes. No match was confirmed publicly. Other suspects were investigated over the years. A man named Roger Arnold was initially considered. Several other individuals were looked at as the investigation continued. None were charged. The question investigators could never answer was motive. The victims had nothing in common. The stores had nothing in common. The killer, if he or she was targeting specific people, left no evidence of it. If it was random, the randomness was the point. Within weeks of the murders, the FDA mandated tamper-evident packaging for all over-the-counter medicines. Within months, the requirement extended across the entire consumer products industry. Every sealed bottle, every foil cap, every safety ring you have ever opened exists because of what happened in Chicago in 1982. Johnson & Johnson reintroduced Tylenol 3 months after the recall, this time in triple-sealed, tamper-evident packaging. The brand recovered. It is still one of the best-selling pain relief products in the world. Johnson & Johnson's response to the crisis is now studied in business schools as the gold standard of corporate crisis management. The decision to prioritize public safety over profit, to recall without being legally required to. But the man who made that response necessary, who killed 7 people by poisoning capsules and placing them back on store shelves, has never faced a murder charge. The FBI officially lists the case as unsolved and open. James Lewis died in July 2023 at the age of 76. He never confessed. He never admitted to the murders. With his death, investigators lost their most prominent person of interest, though they had never been able to charge him. The Tylenol murders case file remains open. The FBI has not publicly named a new suspect since Lewis's death. The forensic evidence gathered over 40 years has not produced a charge. Mary Kellerman was 12 years old. She had a sore throat. Adam Janus was 27. His brother Stanley was 25. His sister-in-law Teresa was 19 and newly married. Paula Prince was a flight attendant. Security camera footage from a Walgreens captured her buying the bottle of Tylenol that killed her. She was 35 years old. Mary Reiner had given birth 4 days before she died. She was was 27 years old. She took Tylenol for a headache. Her newborn child survived. Every year, billions of tamper-evident seals are opened on products around the world. Most people have never thought about why they exist. They exist because of 7 people in Chicago who had headaches in September 1982. The killer walked into ordinary stores in ordinary suburbs and tampered with ordinary products that ordinary people would buy. There was no way to know. There was no way to be safe. That was the point. The case has never been solved. 40+ years of investigation, DNA testing, witness interviews, and forensic analysis have not produced a murder charge. The motive, if there was one, has never been established. What the case did produce was a world that looks different because of it. Every child-proof cap, every foil seal, every safety band on every product in every store is a direct result of what happened in Chicago in the autumn of 1982. 7 people are buried because someone who has never been identified, never been charged, and is likely now dead, spent an afternoon poisoning capsules and putting them back on shelves. James Lewis denied it until his death. The FBI says the case is open. No new suspect has been publicly named. The next time you break a tamper seal on a medicine bottle, that small, unremarkable moment of safety, you are holding the only lasting record of what the Tylenol killer left behind. Mary Kellerman was 12 years old. She had a headache. She is buried in Elk Grove Village, Illinois. The person who poisoned the capsule she swallowed has never answered for it.